Welcome to the Cory Lee Show, where our focus is on building leaders and transforming culture. My name is Cory Lee, and in each episode, I aspire to ignite something on the inside of you that encourages you to grow yourself and to make an impact on the world around you. Welcome to the Cory Lee Show. Well, welcome back to the Cory Lee Show. Got another exciting episode today. This is a solo cast, and we are here at the Well Recording Studio in downtown Tupelo, Mississippi. And if you're in the area, you're looking for a place to drop in and record your podcast or whatever you like to record, hey, reach out to us. You can reach out in the show notes below or email me, Cory@CoryLeeLeadership.com, and we can hook you up. Well, today I wanted to share with you really an excerpt from my upcoming book called Champions: The Lifestyle, the Attitudes, the Choice. And really, I hope by the end of this episode today that it sparks something on the inside of you, that it triggers something on the inside of you to inspire you to step into everything that God has designed and created you to be, to become exactly who God created you to be. And just I always want to encourage, inspire, and motivate and uplift. And so today we're talking about champions. And as I start this, kind of the introduction of the book, I want to introduce our podcast the same way with one of my favorite quotes called "Man in the Arena." But leading up to that, this is actually Teddy Roosevelt. He gave this speech on April the 23rd, 1910, and he stepped onto the platform at the Sorbonne in the Grand Amphitheater at the University of Paris, and he delivered this speech that the world would simply remember as the man in the arena. See, Roosevelt was actually 1 year removed from his presidency of the United States, and he was doing this whirlwind travel tour that included everything from visits to major capitals and heads of states to expeditions into African jungles in order to collect like these specimens for the Smithsonian. And so on this particular day, he was supposed to deliver the message entitled "Citizenship in a Republic." And as he read this, as he wrote and read his speech, he minced no words whatsoever in his address. And the spirit of the words in which he used still stir up the passions within individuals to boldly step across the line of timidity, fear, and apathy and uncertainty that binds so many people to an unfulfilled life. And he challenged them to step into the arena. See, he draws this clear line of demarcation between the champion and the critic, the go-getters and the comfortable, the ones who pursue life and those who stand on the sidelines of life only to point and jeer and to mock. See, the critics are the many who sit in their comfortable chairs of judgment. They speak of what should be done and what could be done and what would have been done if they were in someone else's shoes. The champions are those brave few who step across the line of perceived risk to give life a go and to see just what could be possible within a lifetime. They win some, they lose some, but no matter the results, they keep on pushing forward, right? They understand that there are lessons to be learned within the successes of life as well as the failures of life. The champion, the successes, can never cause them to become complacent, nor can the failures cause them to stay on the mat. See, the champion is not one decorated with medals and trophies and exterior accolades alone. See, true champions, they understand that the greatest victories are not the ones won without, but the victories won within. See, their character on the inside is far greater than the rewards on the outside. They are bigger on the inside than on the outside. Champions are those who are good at what they do and great at who they are. When we think about the critics, we're going to allow the critics to criticize, the judges to judge, the whiners to blame and whine, the moaners to moan, and the complainers to complain, but that ain't you. You are a champion. You were born for significance. You were made to do great things within your generation. You are a champion. And so to conclude this kind of portion, I want to just at this point, I just want to read to you his speech, this portion of the speech that's come to be known as the man in the arena. See, he says, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. See that, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat, is the man in the arena. And so when I think about champions, one of the aspects I write about in the book is that champions actually take their craft seriously. One of my favorite quotes says, "Until one is committed, there's hesitancy. There's a chance to draw back." Commitment. See, it's only once we make a commitment that we're all in. In a 5-year period of time, my wife and I, we built 2 physical therapy clinics, 4 gyms, had 3 kids, sold all the businesses. And shortly after we sold those businesses, I remember having this conversation with my wife about, what the next season holds. And I knew that I wanted to work with leaders because I knew that if developing leaders, it would cast a wider net, that it would actually create a greater impact. See, developing leaders is very different from developing followers. Leaders cast this wide net and have the ability to impact and influence the many. The idea that I had, it was kind of vague, but I could feel it stirring within me. All that I knew at the time was that I wanted to build a business that was dedicated to building leaders around the globe who are good at what they do and great at who they are. And so I developed a plan. I got a little bit of training and I launched out and something interesting happened. I decided to apply all the strategies that I knew worked in our previous business, and I tried to apply them into this new leadership business. But man, nothing seemed to work, right? It was tough. Clients were few, speaking engagements were rare, and one-on-one coaching sessions were even scarcer. The success I envisioned, it seemed to elude me. And then this turning point came with a profound realization, and it was sparked by a simple yet powerful quote that I read earlier. "Until one is committed, there's hesitancy, a chance to draw back." What I want you to know is the revelation of this quote. I realized how I was actually subconsciously hindering my own business. See, while part of me worked on this new dream, another part of me was actually lingering in safety and security of the past. And see, I would often find myself scrolling on Indeed.com. I was just trying to see what the other opportunities might be, just what's out there, right? I wanted to see what might be available for individuals with my kind of skill set, right? And I would say things like, well, if this doesn't work, then I could always go back and start another physical therapy clinic. I could always go back and launch another gym. If this doesn't work out. See, I realized that I was coming up with my plan B solutions instead of focusing on my plan A solution. My plan A solution was only getting bits and pieces of me, and I had to realize that I was going into a new season, not just the next season. And I had to burn my boats, and I had to go all in on my dream. My dream needed my commitment, not my half-hearted attempt. See, every single worthwhile endeavor requires commitment. In fact, without a full commitment, you will never achieve the success you expect or desire. That's because without a full commitment, there's always a way out, a backup plan, a plan B, if you will. And see, with a plan B in place, it allows the option of retreat to be in place. And as I think about this, I feel like some of you are going into a new season, not just the next season. And a commitment needs to be made, just like me. See, behold, I do a new thing. There's a difference between the next thing and the new thing. Some of us are moving into next seasons, which are really just an extension of the past, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with next seasons. However, I know many are moving into new seasons. See, a new season means it's completely different from the previous season. And there are some things that you must cut ties with. You must burn the boats, if you will. It's a complete departure from what has been, requiring the severing of ties and releasing of what hinders. You must let go, completely go, The weight of the past cannot be carried into the boundless possibilities of this new season. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things. Forget them, y'all. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wastelands. That's good stuff. See, when I made the decision to go all in, I stopped hedging my bets and committed to the full vision stirring within me to build and inspire leaders around the world. I stopped scrolling to see what the latest opportunities on Indeed.com were. and see, each time I considered the possibility of launching a new physical therapy practice, I shifted my focus to asking the question of, what activity could I actually be doing right now to move this business forward? Like, we teach in leadership that not all activity equals accomplishment. And so not all activity provides the same return. And so is this activity actually pushing me forward to the dream stirring within my heart? And see, as I started doing that, the impact was immediate and transformative. The business has taken off and I've never looked back. Champions, my friends, unlike the critics, are committed to both the prize and the process. Critics tend to hold back. They never fully commit to a cause, and they like to keep their options open, right? But champions are different. They cut all ties with the routes of escape. When faced with challenges, their focus becomes laser sharp, undistracted by peripheral concerns. See, pursuing a dream demands all of you. It wants all of your creativity. It wants all of your focus. It wants all of your intentional time, not just your leftovers. Champions approach their craft with a seriousness that elevates them above the hobbyist. See, people with hobbies participate only when things are convenient or when they feel like participating. For the hobbyist, there's a lot of starting and stopping. They are inconsistent in their efforts. And while hobbyists engage when convenient, champions consistently do what others do only occasionally. Champions also take their craft seriously through accountability. See, accountability is to give an account for your ability, not your inability. Champions hold themselves to a higher standard, but they know they can't be left to their own self-evaluation, right? Even though they know they need other people in their lives who embrace who they are, but also believe in who they can become. Right? We need people in our lives who not only embrace where we're at, but they also believe and stretch us into become who we can become. So they not only surround themselves with other champions, but they also invite trusted people into their lives who will tell them what they need to hear and not just what they want to hear, right? They invite other champions who operate at a high level of awareness to shine lights into their blind spots. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Cory Lee Show. Y'all, I am on a mission to build leaders and to transform culture. So if you're looking for a speaker who speaks directly to the heart, a mentor to come alongside you and your team, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a personal coach who embraces where you are and also believes in who you could become, then I would be honored to walk this path with you. Simply reach out to me on my email at Cory@CoryLeeLeadership.com. Look, let's make your vision a reality. Contact me and together we'll navigate the path from aspiration to achievement. Your transformation, it starts now. We call them blind spots for a reason, right? That's because we can't see them. And so many times we can't see the picture when we're in the frame, and we need others to help us see. This inner circle of champions, it illuminates those blind spots and it offers invaluable perspective. I'll give you guys a great question to ask, and here's a great question you can ask other people, really those people who truly know you and are close to you. But what's it like being on the other side of me? What's it like being on the other side of me? That's a great question. There's a phrase out in the personal growth leadership world. It says that you are the average of the 5 people closest to you. Think about that. You are the average of the 5 people closest to you. I believe that's true. And as you think about it, think about when you were growing up, your mom and them used to say, hey, you don't need to hang out with such and such, or hey, you need to spend a little more time with such and such over there. Like, why would your mom and them say you don't need to hang out with little Sally or little Billy. Well, they know that we have this tendency to, the people we hang out with have a tendency to influence us. Like we tend to talk about the same things. We tend to be interested in the same things. We tend to have the same interest, and that influence can rub off on us. And so they wanted us to be in a good crowd. And so my question to you is, at what point is that no longer true? Is it no longer true when we graduate high school? Is it no longer true when we get 30? Is it no longer true maybe when you get married or when you have your first child? And I would like to propose to you, it's always true, right? Who we hang out with, it matters. See, champions take their craft seriously by being intentional about who's in their inner circle. And the key voices that speak into our lives. See, it has been said that you are that average of the 5 people closest to you. Think about that, right? When you think about that, a champion's inner circle consists of others who are growing. They do not surround themselves with the critic, the cynic, the complainer, the negative Nancy, or the gossiper. Champions know that if any of those are allowed to speak heavily into their lives, then a lid has been placed on the top and it limits their growth. They invite others who are committed to growth. They seek out those who are bigger, stronger, faster, because they know that if they are the most gifted person in the room, then they're in the wrong room. See, champions only allow those to come near. Like I'm talking about those inner circles. I hope you catch my heart on this. I'm talking about those people who have influence in your life. That inner circle, they really, really are guarded with that, and I think you should be. Champions only allow those to come near who, when they ask what they think, they actually think about what they're thinking about, right? Some people just like to respond and they don't think. Some like to simply give opinions, but I want you to know opinions are the cheapest commodity in God's creation. Anybody can give an opinion. Why it's easy to give an opinion is because opinions do not consider or take into account responsibility for the outcome or the action that is to be taken. See, they can give an opinion easily because they don't have to bear the weight of the responsibility for the action that they just recommended. So before we ask people what they think first, and make sure they actually think, right? They have other champions who will sharpen them, just as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. In the sharpening process, there's friction. If you think about it, right, sharpening is not always a comfortable process, but it results in refinement. And what champions do is they have others who will ask them the hard questions. But not only that, people who ask them the hard questions with the heart posture of love to see them grow and not stay in the same place. They do not surround themselves with those who will help them make excuses. I like how Jim Rohn says. He says, "Don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high." See, champions guard well their inner circle. And really, one last thought on this as it relates to the 5 people closest to you. Champions aren't just receiving, but they're pouring out, right? Like they are rivers and not just reservoirs. They know that a relationship is a two-way street where each party gives 100%. They know that if a relationship gets lopsided, then that relationship will never last. And so champions are continually striving to pull up the average of those around them and elevate the people around them. And so last thought on this is when I think about champions, they take their craft seriously because they know who they are. See, champions live from their identity as a champion, not fighting for identity. And this is a huge difference. There's a huge difference between living like a champion and living like an underdog. See, the underdog lives with a chip on their shoulder and desires to prove others wrong. They see the world from the perspective that people are always out to get them and they have to get what is theirs and they have to go take what is theirs. In sports, all right, think about this, the underdog can sneak up on other teams and they can kind of fly under the radar to grab some unexpected wins from time to time. But there's a huge difference between being an underdog and a champion. Champions do not have the satisfaction of sneaking up on other teams. They always get the best from their opponents. There's a weight of expectation that the underdog just knows nothing about. And that's And that's what causes their inconsistency. See, they can dominate moments, but look like complete beginners at other moments. Many know how to live their lives as an underdog, but they don't know how to live like a champion. They experience the occasional win, but they aren't fully mature in how to handle the new identity of being a winner, so they revert back to the bad habits. And what I want you to know is many times this is really an unconscious activity, and the reason is that their belief is still in who they were instead of who they are. And our beliefs drive our behavior. And so no matter if I've experienced a few wins, if deep down inside of me I do not believe I'm a winner, I will eventually return to my internal set point. See, we will never outperform our own self-image. Just like that thermostat on the wall that is set at 70, if the temperature in the room rises above 70, then that unit's going to kick on and it's going to bring the internal temperature back to the set point. You must see yourself as a champion. You are a champion. And see, understanding identity is important because we truly will never outperform that own self-image. Without identifying as a champion, we'll spend too much time focused on the competition instead of growing into our potential. I heard this story one time when I asked what he thought about his team's competition, Auburn and Georgia. So Nick Saban was asked this, what he thought about the competition of Auburn and Georgia. Nick Saban, he said, Auburn and Georgia, they're not our competition. Complacency is our competition. See, when we focus more on the competition than on our growth, we fall into the comparison trap. And through the comparison trap, the accuser gets us to look at who we are not instead of who we are. The talents we don't possess instead of the gifts that we do. Where we're stressed instead of where we're blessed. Champions focused on who they are, not on who they are not. See, I truly believe if you knew who God created you to be, then you'd never want to be anybody else. Actually, when we want to be someone else, when we want to be exactly like someone else, all we can ever hope to be is a copy of the original. A knockoff brand of the real thing, right? Like I'm the Equate brand whenever I do that. And I firmly believe that I firmly believe that you're created on purpose, for a purpose, and you're living in this generation on purpose. In fact, there's a God in heaven who not only created you, but loves you. And if you will take just a moment to seek Him or to ask Him from your heart who He says you are, I firmly believe He'll tell you. Like if you'll pause right now, and if you'll turn to Him and ask Him, who do you say that I am? I believe He'll speak to you. And I believe you'll be blown away with the answer. See, this world likes to say who you are and who you should be, but it's His word who tells you who you really are. And so sometimes people will not fully step into to living their lives as a champion because it's just much easier to settle to live like an underdog. See, the underdog does not feel comfortable bearing the weight of expectations or the responsibility or the expectation to always be at their best. It's just a whole lot easier to show up and to do your best when they want to. It's just a whole lot easier to maintain the talent that you have instead of going out to put in the extra effort to discover what all the Lord has placed into your account. Underdogs like to perform only when the lights are bright. Champions make the choice to perform at the same level of intensity even when no one's watching. They know this is the great separator between living like an underdog and living like a champion. It's what's done when no one's watching, even when no one may even know what's being done. It's what you do in the dark, right? It's when you're putting all that work in, that effort in the dark, not even knowing that it's going to work, but you putting it in when nobody's watching. But honestly, it all gets exposed in the end. See, what's done in the dark, it eventually gets exposed. What's been done well in the dark will eventually be exposed as well. There is a weight of expectations that champions carry that crushes the underdog. See, the champions carry it because they've done the internal work that's done in the dark. I find it interesting that the underdog likes to tell people all about who they are and what they've done and the efforts they put in, while the champion, you know what, they just show up. They just show up and show people. It ultimately gets revealed. The reality is, if you have to tell everyone how great you are, you probably aren't that great. You're probably more insecure than great. See, you do more by showing than you do by telling. Andrew Carnegie said, the older I get, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do. How about that? See, I believe you are a champion. I believe you have been called to a generation such as this, and that this world needs champions who operate from a pure heart, with clean hands, pure convictions. I believe this world needs that. I believe this world needs champions who operate at a high level, who are unwilling to accept bribes, unwilling to go in back rooms, unwilling to get their hands dirty in the evil way, but get their hands dirty by putting in hard work. This world needs that. It's called shining your light into a dark world. And it's the brightest lights shine the brightest on the backdrop of darkness. And so, hey, I hope this podcast has encouraged you. I hope it has inspired you. I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. You are a champion. I know you are. And so, hey, if today has encouraged you or inspired you, give me a comment below what has stood out to you. I would love to hear that. But also, if you don't mind to share it, that allows us to get this message out to more people. It also helps to give a review and to like and subscribe. That way, even more people, it does some stuff with the algorithm stuff, as you guys probably know better than I do. But getting this message of hope and encouragement and inspiration out to even more people is what I would love. And I would love your help in doing that. So you can do that by liking and subscribing, review, but also sharing it with other people. So, hey, I hope you guys have a great day and God bless. Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have added value to you. And if you have found value in this episode, let me know. Drop a comment and make sure you share with a friend or family member. See you next episode.